look at that.
Hi,
We're alive.
we're
Hi.
live. I'm gonna post it up. I'm gonna post it up to the Discord, which you can get access to if you're a patron.
Ooh. Except, actually,
Ooh,
you don't even have to be a patron to
yeah,
get
you don't
part
have
of
to.
the
You don't even have
Discord.
to now.
It's
You
just
don't
like
even
there's
have
like
to.
exclusive channels.
Yes, that's right. We got a what do they call it? It's blocked. No, that's not it. Uh, what's
Yeah,
it?
it's a lot of
What are we
it's a
talking
lot
about?
of DPs, if you guys know what
Page
I mean.
paid channels.
Paid
Uh,
channels.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's something
it's a
like
lot. It's a
that.
lot of DPs, guys. It's a lot of dogs and pirates. Dogs and pirates.
Dogs and pirates. What? Is this something I'm missing? Is this some new trend or
No,
phrasing?
it's like, hey, I'm gonna send you a DP, like
Oh, I
a
see what you
junk
mean.
pic, but
Dogs and pirates, sure.
dogs and pirates. See, it's a play on words that we're not perverts
Does my
that people know about.
does my right eye still seem like it's like thin?
I mean, your eyes have always been kind of thin.
Yeah, but I mean like more like compared one to the other. If I'm just like blank.
No, they look the
Oh.
same.
I like could barely see out of it yesterday, which is
Oh,
not
I
ideal.
didn't know if this was like some cosmetic thing you got done, and I just insulted you that you.
No. I scratched my eye uh when I was playing disc golf because I like went back and went forward and I was in the weeds and a branch went like whoosh, and like whiplashed and hit me in the eye and I got like
Wow.
an ablation, so I had to go get like drops in it. I think like every once in a while it comes back if it gets irritated, but I got to go pick up new glasses anyways, so I'm just gonna be like, hey, while I'm here, can you guys just like make sure there's not like damage
Make sure
or
I
don't
didn't
have like
damage my retina.
yeah, like I don't have pieces of like a piece of wood in my eye right now because it feels like that. And it felt like that when I was in Costa Rica. And it felt like this when I just woke up, went off roading. So who knows?
Oh man. Well, before we go to the podcast recording portion, is there anything just that our YouTube and Twitch audiences would like to hear about when it comes to Big Tuck and life, whether it be
Um,
trips or anything you don't want recorded in
recorded.
audio form only?
I am going to New Orleans for the first time this weekend with my brother, which is exciting because the last time he went there, I'm pretty sure he ran from the police. So that's
So,
a
so we're
good
going to
start.
figure out a bail warrant bond
Yes, right.
issue.
We already got our bail bondsman selected. I'm on my. This has been one calendar week that I've been no nicotine and no alcohol for dry January. Obviously, I will not be continuing that trend in New Orleans. And
What?
no, I don't have like I really don't have that much, man. Like this last week was just kind of like a return to form after traveling. I don't like. Oh, you will like this. So I go now when I go into my American Airlines app, right, where I do all my bookings through.
Mhm.
After this weekend, there's no flights.
Whoa.
None. For the
How's
first
that
time
feel?
in a long time that I can remember. None. No flights, nothing. So I think
That's
the
pretty
next one is
crazy.
going to Philly for a rugby game. But what about you, Mr. Combo? Is there anything offline that you'd want to talk about?
Hmm.
Or off audio
Off.
recording? I guess yeah, it's
Yeah.
like if this is gonna get posted to YouTube, so it's
Yeah, but
still
I mean, like,
findable.
our YouTube and Twitch audience is still like smaller than our audio only audience, so it's still
True,
like we're
that's
only
true.
hitting a portion of people. Now, granted, this deck, I mean, because everyone's been looking to build this guy, I'm sure. Wink.
Sure.
Uh, but no, I think the let's see. Oh, biggest thing is I got this idea from my wife's maid of honor. She was,
Sure.
sent this big long text of like New Year's resolutions, which, most of them are just like stupid. And it's just like,
Right.
if you just, I don't know, did better at life, you wouldn't need those. um,
Yeah, they're
but
like reminders.
she she had something in there that was pretty cool. She had like monthly goals for resolutions. So it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
January do this, February do that. And so I actually took that and applied it to me and my wife. And I've gone 3 times now. We're in the third week in January. We effectively said January work out 1 day a week, 1 day a
Oh,
week. That's all you
nice.
got to do. And then
Yeah.
February 2 days a week, March 3 days a week, and then April will cap it at 4 days a week,
Okay.
but it's like this slow build up. So then that way it's not like I'm gonna work out 3 days a
Yeah.
week and then you just
And then
fizzle
you're
out
just
and you're done.
toast.
Yeah,
Did you
because
get? Is that a new? Is that a new Apple Watch that I see you're wearing?
oh, it is.
Wow, you finally made the change, huh?
No. I used to have Apple Watches. I just think they're stupid. Oh, here's actually something we don't want for the audio recording, but I think you'll find hilarious, and so will Lemony Lemmings. So I'm potentially going to be getting a new job,
Correct.
and we just went into the new calendar year. If people weren't familiar, we are in
Mm-hmm.
2023, and part of our benefits is we get $500 of like fitness reimbursement every
Oh yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah.
So here's the thing. They cap it though on smartwatches at 200 bucks. Like that's all they'll reimburse you.
Sure.
Probably
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like you could just get an Apple Watch and that takes up the full
And
500 and they want
right.
you to use it for a gym membership or something. But I remember the story you told me about you and your dad and the luggage. So I went ahead and I bought a Bowmaster or a Bowflex on Amazon, screenshotted the receipt, immediately canceled it and submitted that and I got the 500 reimbursement.
No way, you got it.
Yep. And so
Yes.
I went ahead and bought this on my Verizon plan. I mean, it's they're like $700-800. They're crazy expensive.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But they had $150 off because I was going to get it with the cellular plan. It's like $5 a month, $10 a month,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
So they gave me
Peanuts.
150 off for that. Then I got the 500. So really, I just paid like $150 for it,
Right, right, right.
and they just put it on my bill for the next 3 years at no interest. So I'm literally paying $16 a month. Like I'm
Right.
not even gonna notice like the
Nice.
charge on there. So yeah, totally scammed them,
Good
and I thought
good
you'd like
job.
that.
I'm getting ready to pull that same I'm getting ready to pull that same, what do they call it? It's grift in the next few months because I forgot. It gets even better because my friend works for this high-end furniture company, one of the guys I was in Puerto Rico with. So he gets
Okay.
us like 50% off of the chairs themselves. So I
Oh,
can get like a $1,500 chair for 700. So now I can get myself and my dad one, and then we're great. And I could say I'm gonna be working remote there a lot because my dad's sick this year. So there you go.
there we
Really twist
go,
that in.
man.
Good.
All right.
Abuse those benefits, people.
Yeah, absolutely. But oh yeah, no. So we kind of got off track. So back to the working out thing. So yeah, we're going once a week, and then I think after
Good.
April, once we're doing it 4 days a week, like May, it'll start being more of like probably around diet, more around
Yeah,
that
right.
stuff or vitamins, supplements. But yeah, no. Day one when I did it, it sucked. I gave up pretty quick. It was just one of those at home body weight only workouts.
Sure.
It was awful. Second time I went was at the gym. Gave up after, I mean, it was like 35 minutes of the weights exercise. It's supposed to take 55 minutes. And then today I made it to the 50-minute mark. I just basically tapped out when it came to the ab exercises. I got through like one circuit and then they wanted me to start doing Supermans. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
What gym are you going to?
Woodside.
Oh yeah, that's the place you went to before, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've actually
Uh,
had a membership there for 3 years and I'm just now going. Just
I
wasting that money.
yeah, just throw it away. I did get a new membership though to the gun range, and this is a place where I have not made out in the parking lot yet. So just get ready for that, Charlotte. Get
Oh,
ready.
man. Well, I think it's time to record. How about you?
Let's do this thing. Let's
All
do it.
right. 3, 2, 1.
Oh. All right, here we go.
Hey guys, welcome
Ugh.
to episode 167 of CMD Towers Brews and Builds. I'm Mr. Commodore Number 5, and my fellow grifter is Big Tuck.
Hi, we're doing grips. I wish that this was a delicious beer, but it's not. It's a strawberry bubbly. Because I'm taking it easy for the next few months. But I think on this channel I've talked non-alcoholic beers before with you, and I know you're not into them. Also, is this so happy 2023, everybody? And
Yeah,
this is the first episode we recorded since the last ones where we did it remote, right?
yeah, I think
Because
so.
I was like, oh, this I forgot what it's like to hear the music. So anyway, I know you're not a big beer guy, right?
Correct.
But how many beers have you drank out of a green bottle?
Dos Equis.
Okay,
I think I have tried a Heineken,
Heineken. Okay,
and I think that's it.
okay. So for
Oh no,
me,
my Qingdao's.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, good point. So traditionally, I don't really love. Well, now that I think about it, I guess I hate Beck's and Heineken. which are both from both out of green bottles. So I kind of had a green bottle anti thing to it. So I went to a
Okay.
show on Friday. The girl I'm dating just got her tonsils taken out, so I've been kind of on my own for planning for the last weekend. And I went to a show and I wanted to see what non-alcoholic stuff they had, and the only ones they had were Heineken Zeros, which, if
Ugh.
you remember, is so hear me out. If you remember it, it's a commercial where the guy's like driving, then he gets pulled over by the
Yeah.
cop, and he's like, "Haha, I'm only the kind of alcoholic that needs to drink a non-alcoholic beer when I'm driving." Right? And it's like, so anyways, all that to say this, I was like, sure, whatever, like I'm sick of drinking
Sure.
water. I don't want a soda. And I gotta admit, I think it's the best non-alcoholic beer I've ever had. The Heineken Zeros. I gotta admit it. And I was trying to find some at the grocery
Mm.
store yesterday when I got there. None. Cleaned out at the one next to me. So anyways, if you guys are also participating in dry January, Heineken Zero is the way to go. What are you
Well,
drinking today
I'm
besides water?
it's orange lime infused water,
Oh.
and that's basically it. So I'm not doing dry January, but I am doing like just I don't think I'm gonna drink for 4 or 5 days, like at all. Like no
Yeah.
beer. I don't want anything alcoholic at all. Because it's kind of I kind of remembered that it's been almost a year since I effectively quit smoking hookah outside
Right.
of
Yeah.
hyper social settings. And so it's just kind of this thing. It's like, hey, we're 35, or you're turning 35,
Yes.
or yeah, you're
Yes.
turning 35. I'm
You're
turning
turning you're
36
turning
later this year.
36 this year, are you not?
Ugh.
Oof.
And so it's just
Oof.
one of those things like, hey, let's maybe help the liver a little bit,
Yeah.
and let's help our lungs. And I don't know how much working out actually helps the body process some of that stuff,
Right.
but I'm hoping that kind of plays a part
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, no, it's
Have
and
you know
honestly,
have you noticed a
I
difference? Like, are you sleeping better? Like, do you
no.
feel better? Like, because for me, I'm sleeping way better. I'm way less anxious. I have mental alacrity. Like, I can count on the speed bag a lot better. It's been like it's. I was like joking with a friend. It's like, so people just feel like this all the time. Like, it doesn't have to be a month out of the year. It's like, wow,
No,
that's kind of incredible.
I don't have that, but I have told my wife this. February 6th is when marijuana becomes legal on the Missouri side for
Oh,
recreational,
nice.
and I think I'm going to effectively stop drinking because I do enjoy cocktails and I do enjoy that fun aspect of it. But a
Sure.
lot of times for me, it's because, and you know how this is, like my our brains get so active. It's like I
Yeah.
kind of just need to have you slow down and numb it a little bit.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so for me, like I actually work better, even like not like getting high, but just doing like low dose gummies of
Yeah,
THC.
like micro dosing, as the kids call it,
Yeah,
right?
and,
Yeah.
and it effectively gives me the result that I'm looking for, but it's probably way better on my body.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so
And I
yeah,
like
I'm
I'm no expert in this, but like I feel as someone who drinks a lot, I personally feel even like, and I think I'm gonna start doing CBD again, but like I don't do marijuana and I just don't get along very well. I think it should totally be legal, and I feel like it's way less destructive than alcohol is, like in the way it makes you feel and like the things
yeah,
you can do on it, right? So it helps with
and I
pain
do think there's
management.
a
It'll probably help you sleep better, right?
yeah, for sure, and I do think there's a difference though between like smoking and just like consuming an edible type thing as
Yeah,
well.
right.
Because like I'm not a big smoker of the THC. I've never been. So yeah, no, I'm pretty excited. I think my handle of rum a weekend days will soon be done.
It'll soon be done. That's great.
Yeah.
Wait, last question I have is, can you go to Missouri with a Kansas license?
Well, because it's just legal. So it's like Colorado. That's like what's
Oh,
happening.
yeah.
Like they've had medical legal on the Missouri side, and you needed the Missouri ID for that. But no, this is just full recreational
You just
open.
drive 5 minutes across the border and be like,
Yeah.
dude,
And then I become a drug smuggler.
there's gonna be so many like rundown clothing stores and stuff that get bought up that's like right over the state line that are just gonna be dispensaries. People are gonna make
Yep.
a fucking killing. That's awesome. Well,
Oh
good.
man.
I'm glad to hear we're putting in the effort until I go to
Yeah.
New Orleans and eat and drink heavily. But hey, you know, one
But
weekend.
hey, we can't have everything. But you know what you can
Can't do
have?
everything.
Brews and Builds is our deck tech series, and since we have conquered our path to 32, some exciting EDH themes that can be supported, we have decided to mix it up, and we are doing draft time. So, Big Tech and I will be fantasy drafting commander decks around some really interesting newer legends. So, each of us will do the following: choose the standard 8 cards each. Think of your standard
Yep.
staples: Smothering Tithe, Counter Spell, uh, you know, Kodama's Reach, things like
Sure.
that.
Rampant
Uh, and
growths,
then
Land of
and
Worlds.
then this deck, we're gonna leave 37 non-utility land slots open. We don't want to draft lands, and you guys don't want to hear about it.
No.
But what happens after that?
Well, we have both before this, without consulting each other, pre-selected around 40 non-land cards. We're gonna flip a coin, and then Mr. Combo's gonna choose to go second and get 2 picks in a stake draft. And then we're just gonna go round robin until the deck is complete.
What if you pick one of my cards?
Then I am gonna remove it from your draft board, and you can no longer draft it.
What about lands?
And we will be giving the total land count recommended and only talking lands up to the available slots. If we do talk about new lands, they do count towards our actual card slots.
Yes. And then, so we're going to do an 18 per person snake draft. So if you guys aren't familiar with that, Big Tuck going first, like he always does, because I like to go second. He picks the first card of the draft. I would pick the second, but then I get to pick the first card of round 2, being pick number 3, and we just snake our way down to 18. And then the final 5 will be a lightning round where we just go back and forth until the deck is finished. So without further ado, let's get brewing. I think the first thing we should do is announce this really interesting commander, Preston the Vanisher. So Big Tuck, why don't you read who Preston is,
Sure.
and then I will read some EDH Rec stats on it.
Great. So Preston the Vanisher is a broad off the presses, I think, jumpstart, Dominaria jumpstart? No, just normal jumpstart commander. It's a legendary rabbit wizard. One of the things that people in the Discord have been going crazy about. That's a 2/5 for 3 colors and a white. It has a ability that says whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't cast, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 0/1 white illusion. And then a colorless and a white to sacrifice 5 illusions, exile target non-land permanent.
Now,
So,
let me tell you what you can't do: illusion
yes.
tribal. I
No,
tried.
it does not work. But before we get into the stats, this was one that you picked out for,
Mhm.
and we kind of went back and forth, and you just wanted to do this one. So, like, what drew you to this guy or this guy? I think
Yeah, I would say it's a
I
guy.
it's a guy, right?
So I thought this was interesting because it seems like this would be amazing in a blink deck. But
Right.
usually
Yeah.
your blink decks are going to be Azorius.
Mm-hmm.
Your um it's the color that nobody likes.
Naya,
Not No, not Naya. The one
Selesnya,
with blue. No, the one with blue. Blue, white, and
Black,
green. No, blue, white, green.
Blue. Oh
Rune.
God, what is that?
See? Nobody likes it. It's a terrible color combination.
Blue, white, green. What is my commander with that even?
Well, so that
You
like
could.
that's my enchantress deck. Uh,
Oh, it's damn it. No, hold on. I hate that. Keep going, keep going. I'll look it up.
okay. So usually when you do blink decks, you have to have these other supplemental colors to white
Right.
because like white does a lot of the blink stuff, but usually the blue or the green have like the payoffs. So seeing Preston the Vanisher, yeah, sure, you got it.
Bant.
Bant.
It even sounds stupid.
Yeah, bam.
Bant.
Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. So, seeing a card that probably was designed to just live within the 99 of those other decks, I thought it'd be cool. Like, well, what if we take the supplemental card, put it at the head of the deck, and figure out a way to do more than just blinking our creatures?
Yeah.
How can we bring them back from the graveyard, bring them back from exile, put from hand straight to battlefield? It doesn't say that it has to come from exile. It just says we can't
Right.
cast it. And then being able to take these creatures, leverage their ETB effects with the zero
Mm-hmm.
one white illusions. But then also having this cool, like, kind of not even swords to plowshare. I don't know what you would equate the exile target non land permanent to, but for 2 mana and getting rid of your 5 illusion tokens from whatever nonsense you've done, being
Right.
able to exile any non-land permanent, that's really cool and powerful.
Yeah.
So I thought this would just be an interesting draft one because I believe there's a lot of different directions we could go
Sure.
with it. So now, before we get your thoughts, 773 decks currently exist on EDH Rec, which is actually a lot more than I thought would be.
Yeah. No kidding.
Interesting. 34 lands is the average in the deck. That seems a
People are.
little
I
light for
mean,
mono white.
it's got so like I don't know. It's got the land taxes, gift to the states. I think 35 is kind of like my hot. That's like my high limit right now.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't. I just don't run anything more than that. You know.
Interesting. Well,
Welcome to the Lunar New Year.
What else we got?
apologies there for the YouTube and Twitch audience. I guess EDH Rec decided I needed to hear a ad about the Lunar New
Oh,
Year family spirit. So there's 6 enchantments, 12 artifacts, 32 creatures. I think that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
And then 11 instants and 4 sorceries. So,
Sure.
Nothing too crazy there. The average CMC seems to be in that mid 3 range, which totally makes sense.
It's about the right.
So, like, what were your thoughts on this guy when I picked it?
I like it because it's definitely a unique white build, like you said, right? White blank with like a good payoff, especially with the tokens that are coming out. I think it's I think it kind of plays into something that white does really well, which is token generation, which is swarming, that sort of thing, but does it kind of in a roundabout way. I will say the thing that I don't like, there's a bunch of these jumpstart commanders, like the Monkey Boy, which I'm almost done building after our Chaos Draft or whatever we did. I'm really excited about that. Curse of Opulence and some of your other picks made it into that boy, by the way. I thought you'd be proud. But the thing that blows my mind on all these jumpstart things, they're still like $20. This is like a rare, right? And
Wow.
I think it's a cool commander. I'm not sure if I'm willing to pay $20 up front just for this, which is going to be like an experiment, effectively, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the whole issue with Jumpstart as a whole. They just don't seem to have a very good distribution model for it.
Right.
And that literally seems to be the only reason Jumpstart products are expensive. It's just because they are just physically hard to get.
Yeah.
It's not because they're actually good or playable or being seen in Legacy, so people need 4 of them. It's
Right,
literally
right.
none of that. It's just, my LGS had a box. So
Yeah, I agree. And it is fun to draft, but this one, I assume you didn't buy a box of this because you're not buying a box of anything, right?
yeah, I mean, I haven't bought outside of the 40K collector edition precons, which are still sealed over there on the right.
Oh, just in case,
Yeah.
just in case anyone's coming for a taste.
Yeah, just in case, or until I see the right pair of lightsabers I want to get, and I just need to offload it to pay for it. So
you just swap one for another.
yeah, I mean, and at least the lightsabers would be displayed somewhere, opposed to these
That's
just
true.
gathering not dust.
At least people can see them on your Zoom calls.
So I think we're ready to go.
Okay.
We should definitely get the party started. But as you talk about, Tuck, we got to do a coin flip. So we got our good old boy Two-Face here. Good, the bad. What do you want?
I'm gonna
you
go
to be
with the
able
bad.
to choose.
I'm gonna go with the bad as tails.
Okay. And do you want me to just catch it, then reveal it, or are we going to do the flip?
No, you gotta do the flip over. Gotta flip it, put it in your hand, and flip it over. Yeah, I'm watching.
Ready?
Yeah.
Tuck, you're picking first.
Let's go.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna switch it over. I want to take 2. I want to take
Damn
the 2
it.
out of this, and I want you to go first. Because I don't think even when I've won, I've done that.
All right, fine. All right. So let's see. Let's take a look at this list.
I know. I'm
here.
trying to
Oh
think.
man.
I'm trying to think of where I want to go first.
Yeah. See, that's the tough thing for me. But I think. All right. Let's start with a fun card. I don't know the number 1 pick. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with a Planeswalker.
Oh,
Let's
nice.
go Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants.
Oh, okay, cool. I was trying to find Planeswalker. Oh, excuse me. I was trying to find Planeswalkers. I just wasn't really struggling with it.
Yeah. So Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants, 2 colorless, white, legendary Planeswalker Ajani. Loyalty 4 when it comes in. It's from M19. You can pick it up for a little under
Sure.
$4. +1. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. -2. Return target creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. -7. You get an emblem with at the beginning of your end step. Create 3/1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. So
Sure.
obviously you can see, the thing that I really wanted in here is that -2. I
Yeah.
could see this deck having a lot of those utility mana 2 or less type of creatures.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
just that's where my gut is sitting at. And the fact that we could play this for 4, -2 it, and effectively get 2 copies, because we're also going to get that
Right.
0/1 illusion with Preston's effect, I think is really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
just
right.
being able to even do the +1 on it, you could turn Preston into a 3/6. Not
Right.
going to be killing people, but it's going to be hard for people to get through and hit a Johnny. So then
Yeah.
you're able to keep that loyalty up for when you are ready to effectively start your shenanigans.
Yeah, I agree. I like this as a lot. I think there's a lot of juice here. I like having more planeswalkers in the deck as well. So I love it. I'm on board 100% with you on this one.
All right. Well, what's your first pick?
Well, now that so this is what you get to do like this, huh? You get to be like, okay, I get to wait. I can wait and see what you got. I think I have. Where did that go? I thought I had a planeswalker as well, but I'm missing it. So I'm gonna go with 2 inspiring cards.
Ooh.
Okay. So the first one I'm gonna get is a way that we're gonna get some of these tokens, because we're gonna have a lot of them. Give them a little bit of a buff, right? So we're gonna go with
Okay.
the background called Inspiring Leader. So this is 2 colorless
Interesting.
and a white for a legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have creature tokens you control get +2/+2, and it's 18 cents. So again, I feel like if you played it like me, this is a deck that is 100% reliant on its commander, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Hands
got to be
down.
out there, it's got to be protected. So having the background filled up likely going to happen, and this will turn all these little tokens not only having a good ETB but also into like little mini threats of their own.
I like that. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, do you really think though that you're going to be hitting people with the illusions a lot? Because I almost feel that they're just like supplemental.
I don't know. I think it's hard. I think it's tough, right? I think there's a lot of ones that are like my next pick that are going to have evasion. So I think if we
Okay.
have some semblance of this in here, I think that's kind of how you're going to have to win, right? Like I have some other things in here to win, but I think that like pounding people in the face with these tokens is going to be a pretty surefire way. Just that you're kind of getting to win just by playing the game, as we've been talking about a lot.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, so my next one, I have another card that's new out of Capenna. There's a lot of these, so get ready for them. But at least I got the inspiring combination, and this one is specifically Inspiring Overseer. So it's a 2 colorless and a white for a creature angel cleric. That's a 2/1 flyer that when it enters the battlefield, you gain a life and draw a card. And boy, let me tell you, I got all sorts of ways that we're going to be doing this, to the extent that I'm concerned, with some potential concerns about decking ourselves, because we didn't go through it fully, but there's new cards like Welcoming Vampire, new things where a lot of these creatures that are going to be small are going to draw us cards on top of that, right? So I just
Hmm.
think we're going to get a deluge of drawing. And the thing I like about the Inspiring Overseer compared to a lot of them is that the creature token will also have flying. So when we pump it up with Inspiring Leader and maybe some other buffs, those tokens in particular are going to be even harder to block, are going to be better defenders, and we're just going to be looking great after that.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I mean, I wish it was CMC2, and then that
I
way
know,
my Ajani could grab it.
I
But
know, I know, I know.
you got your draft chaff, and I know you love your draft chaff.
Gotta love it. Gotta have it.
All right. Well, my round 2 pick is gonna be, so cool thing. Unearth works perfect with our commander.
Yeah.
So I thought Cityscape Leveler would be a
Mm,
real cute card. So 8 colorless
yeah.
artifact creature construct. It's an 8/8 with trample. Whenever
It's a
you cast the
mythic.
spell, and whenever Cityscape Leveler attacks, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a tapped power token. And then it does have Unearth for 8, which, if you guys are not familiar with Unearth, it effectively says that you bring it back from the graveyard to the battlefield and it has haste. But at the end of your turn, you have to sacrifice it. And when you do, it gets exiled. But if it were to leave the battlefield in any other way, shape, or form, it also still gets exiled. So
Yeah.
it effectively makes sure that you can't do like shenanigans with it. But we're going to get a 0/1 of this card onto the battlefield.
Oh,
And so, and it doesn't say it has to do damage. It just says
right.
whenever it attacks. So now our illusion, that's a cityscape leveler, will be attacking as a 0/1, but then destroying permanents left and right. So I thought this would be a real cute card
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's still powerful on its own, but then the fact that we're going to be able to get another copy of it, that's really, really cool.
I mean, this card almost makes Meteor Golem like obsolete, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, I mean, the Power Stone, like half the time the tap Power Stone isn't going to do anything for anyone. This is trample. Meteor Golem's a 3/3, so great. I love it. I hopefully when it rotates and however long that is, it won't be $7. But until then, this is a definite great pick in here. Love it. Great hops card nonetheless.
All right. Well, round 3. Let's see. I mean, I guess we'll continue with the trend of Unearth. We'll
Okay.
keep on that. And this one's a very low to the ground. It's not super sexy or anything, but Yotian Frontliner is gonna help us out a little bit. So
Frontliner.
single colorless 1/1 artifact creature soldier. It's an uncommon. Whenever Yotian Frontliner attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It has an
Oh.
Unearth for a single white mana. So the great thing about this is that this is going to be a target for our Rajani. So we don't have to necessarily
Yeah.
unearth it and also to be able to get our additional copy. But I just kind of imagine this being one of the easier cards to constantly bring back to the battlefield because there's other effects that bring CMCs 3 or less. We might get to in a bit
Oh.
to bring these permanents back. And I could just imagine having an army of illusions. They're all these Yodian frontliners. And like, yeah, I'm attacking with like 6/0/1s, but that means
Right.
I'm gonna make something have 6+1/+1 advantages on it till end of turn. That seems
Yeah.
pretty cool.
No, I think that's awesome. And like you said, I think this is like, if do you think having something like this, I think this is a great card. I think it's worth it across the board. Do you feel that, like, is having this card in here enough to make, and like you said with the other one with adding counters to Preston, is that a way to win? Is this like having all these different combat triggers and stuff to kind of win out of nowhere, maybe with commander damage, you make him a little bit more evasive, or is that like a bridge too far, do you think?
I think the commander damage piece is probably a bridge too far,
Yeah.
just because now, I mean, we'll get into some combat evasion stuff a little bit later,
Ooh.
but it just becomes like, how much are you leaning into that? Like, are you all
Yeah.
combat? And I mean, mono white does do combat tricks a ton.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, maybe that is a viable strategy. I just more see it as like, if it can be supplemental with our commander, is just like, it's good to have it in here,
Mhm.
then let's just have a really, because I think that's what this deck is. It's a good stuff deck.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily combat trigger focused or graveyard recursion or blink only. It's just
right.
good stuff. And then the good stuff kind of lends to this almost more traditional EDH gameplay where it is a little bit more battle cruiser. Like, I'm just getting in the red zone and hitting people in the face. I'm not trying to be tricksy. I'm just doing what my deck wants.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think it's a great pick. It's going to come out and you're going to make a ton of copies of it. Love it. Love it.
All right. Well, why don't you give us your round 3?
So I got 2, and we've talked a lot about these low level creatures, and we got to figure out a way to get them out of the deck, right? And we're already playing with bounce, which we'll get more into, in my opinion, at least. I have a lot of bounce effects in here. I think that's going to be pretty critical to the deck. So what if we had one card that was a repeatable tutor for all these other utility cards in Recruiter of the Guard? So 2 colorless and a white for a 1/1 creature human soldier. When it ETBs, you may search the library for a creature card with toughness 2 or less, reveal it, then put it to your hand, then shuffle. And I think with your card that you saw, that's kind of like an offensive card. That's a little bit of a yeast, right? With the angel I talked about previously, that's your card draw. I think a lot of these creatures, at least in my build, are very low powered because they have crazy ETB effects that we're going to want to abuse. So being able to go get card draw or removal, whatever the case may be, feels like this is a really solid slot in the deck.
Okay, yeah. I'm actually kind of like breezing through some of my creatures, and a lot of them do have toughness 2 or less. So, being able to repeat this over and over and over and over, I think that's super powerful. God,
It's
I
pretty
can't believe
cute,
this is
huh?
almost $30.
Yeah, I have one. I opened it from Conspiracy, my favorite. So the only thing I want to say is that we have now instituted a new tutoring policy in our play group here in Charlotte, where
Okay.
if you want to tutor, you can, but you have to take the mystery bean, which could be, dirty diaper, or it could be like popcorn, right?
Oh, you mean like the Birdie Bots every flavor bean?
Correct. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's Bean Boozled is a generic version of it. Or what we do is you just cascade from the top of your library until you hit something that matches it, and then you get that card.
that's so lame.
It's goofy. But anyway, Recruit of the Guard can go get cards like this one. And again, I think the token swarm here is going to be really effective, right? I think that's going to be a really key piece to victory. So cards like Reverent Hoplite, which is 4 colorless and a white for 1/2 creature human soldier, so it's tutorable.
Hmm.
When the ETBs, you create a number of 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens equal to your devotion to white, right? So we're already going to have a bunch of creatures on board. We're already playing mono white in here. So now, whenever these illusions trigger, if we bounce this or if we return it, reanimate it, however it may work out, now those illusions are going to be providing the workhorses for attacking, the workhorses for defending, and building it out that way.
So I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this card,
Really?
because you've already talked about how we're gonna have a lot of tokens, and it's been a while since you and I have recorded. I don't know if maybe you forgot, but tokens don't have devotion, bro.
That's
Uh,
right. That's fair. But I think we're gonna have, at least the way I have it, I have a lot of utility cards, a lot of enchantments, a lot of physical creatures that we're gonna be playing that I think is gonna pay into it.
maybe it's just 5
You're not buying
mana.
it?
Well, 5 mana to
Sure.
probably
Yeah.
get, let's just call it 3 to 4 1/1 white
Oh,
human soldiers. I don't know. I don't know
I
if
think
it's
I think it's
there.
I think it's gonna be way I think it's gonna be way higher than that. But again, we don't know what each other we don't know
We
what each
don't
other's
know
building,
yet.
so who knows? We'll see.
All
We'll
right.
see.
Well, my round 4 is a very cute card because we need ways to protect ourselves. Because I think when people
Ooh.
start to see our shenanigans, they're not going to like it. And I don't think we actually want to use our illusions for chump blockers. We'd like to keep them for whatever their effect
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So Orification, I think is a really cute card,
Yeah.
and I had
It's
never heard
great.
of it to be honest. 2 colorless white enchantment. Whenever a creature deals damage to you, put a gold counter on it. Each creature with a gold counter on it is a wall in addition to its other creature types and has defender, so they can't attack. And then when an Orification leaves the battlefield, that's when removing all gold counters from all creatures. So super easy. This is,
Yeah.
in my opinion, a better Ghostly Prison
Oh, okay. Because you think it's gonna
because
the incentive is even lower to attack, right?
Yep, because unless they can just kill you, like,
Hmm.
on the spot, what good does it do for them to hit you with 4 creatures,
Right.
deal 12 damage, if now those 4 creatures can no longer attack until this enchantment, which is one of the hardest permanents to remove, is
Yeah.
gone?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like it. This is actually Ross gave me a copy of this. Marketing Ross gave me a copy of this like a year ago, and I haven't found a deck for it yet.
Ooh.
And also, you can do the mental gymnastics of like, to your point. Okay, they're like they're gonna remove Ghostly in prison anyway, right? And there,
Mhm.
so the argument's like, okay, when they remove this, they get their creatures back, and you're like, well, with Ghostly prison, they never lost them in the first place, right?
Yep.
And they're just gonna pay. They're gonna pay the mana to attack you until they can't, and they're just gonna blow it up. So it's interesting. I think it's a solid card. And again, 2 white pips, perfect for a Reverend Hoplite. Feed it in,
Yep.
baby. Let's get the devotion up.
Alright, well, kicking off round 5 before we go to a commercial break after round 5 before round 6, I thought, let's put something fun in here. Let's, do a little, Holofont in Lulu Loyal
What?
Hollyfont. So, 3
Oh,
colorless white, legendary creature, Elephant Angel. It's a 3/2, flying. Choose a background, doesn't matter because it's not our commander. At the beginning
sure.
of your end step, if a permanent you controlled
Oh,
left
yeah.
the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each tap creature you control, then untap them. There
Oh,
is
sure.
no reason why on our turn we don't have things leaving the battlefield.
Yeah,
Hopefully they're
right.
coming back, but they should be leaving at a bare minimum. Well, how awesome is that to put a basically anthem your board, and now they're all untapped, and now you got
Yeah.
them for blockers. Because I know you like being in the red zone. I don't
Uh-huh.
like being in the red zone because then I'm left open for attacks after. But this satisfies both of it.
Yeah, it gets it both ways. I like it. I just hate the artwork of this. The
Oh, it's
artwork
stupid.
really pisses me off. But it's like I said, we are gonna be doing the bouncing. That's gonna be a key part of the deck. So yeah, give pump up those illusions. Give them pseudo vigilance. Why not? Just
Why not?
maybe get an altar of this 30-cent card, 9-cent card.
All right. Well, I guess you could get an altar of like Dumbo.
I get wait only if it's from the Tim Burton and not animated version. That's the only one you can do.
Is it like frightening looking?
It's CG. Yeah, it looks weird.
Oh, yeah. All
It's
right. Well, what's
upsetting.
your round 5?
So I thought that this card sucked for a commander, and I've been proven wrong over and over and over again, especially now that we can bounce it and make more copies of it. So Skyclave Apparition, I think, actually does a ton of work in this format as well.
Yep.
Colorless and a double white for a 2/2, so tutorable with Crew to the Guard. It's a core spirit for about $2 ish, maybe a little under. When it ETBs, exile it to one target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with converted mana cost 4 or less. And then when Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner creates an XX blue illusion creature token. Rex is the converted mana cost of the exiled card. I first was like, okay, so you're just going to give them a free creature on top of that? Great. Every time this has been played against me, it's destroyed me. It's
Oh,
taken
really?
it's taken my propaganda. It's taken my high value creature, right? To where you can't replace it, right? A 3/3 illusion for one of the better enchantments in my deck. It's totally backbreaking. And again, you and I were both skeptical and think this card is standard only. But I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's got some real wheels in Commander, especially when you can blank it.
So I'm curious because these are also illusions that are being made. Is there an argument that
Oh,
you do this to your own stuff?
it is, but it doesn't work. It won't let you do that.
Oh, you don't control.
Yeah, you
Damn.
don't control. But I agree. I completely agree with you. Yeah, when you're like, well, I don't need this one card anymore, so I'll just toast it and get an illusion out of it
Oh, that
anyways.
would have been so cool.
I know, right? But it's
Here
what
we
you got
are.
to dance with the one that brung you.
Well, before Tuck gives us round 6, we would love for you guys to check out our amazing Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tower. We have many different tiers on there. We finally, through Marketing Ross's due diligence, figured out why people were getting kicked out of the Discord and the paid channels. So you guys should be all good to go on that. But yeah, I mean, we have a variety of different tiers, variety of different actual merch that you get for joining into the Patreon for the first time, or even if you had to leave for whatever personal reasons and then come back like Lemony Lemmings did, we're just going to end up figuring out another way to reward you. So I know in his case, we're like, hey, we'll give you 50% off a sweater, one of the cool Jund cotton sweaters.
Oh,
So
nice.
don't think I forgot about you, buddy. You just got to work with Etsy to get that coupon code for you. But it's a great thing. It really, that money does go into helping keep this channel alive. you know, the more you guys support us, the more we can bring additional creators on, invest in new technologies. Heck, maybe even BigTuck could quit his job one day and just be a full-time content creator.
That's gonna be that's what I'm gonna have to turn on Feet Finder or whatever it's called.
Oh God. So just remember patreon.com/CMD Tower.
Okay, so rounding into number 6, this is a card I've had in my high trade value section of my binder for probably 2 years, and it is not. It is a cool 76 cents. However, I think that there's some pretty interesting gimmicks here. So this is another enchantment called Blessed Sanctuary. So it's 3 colorless double white for an enchantment. It's a rare from the original Jumpstart that has prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control. And then whenever
Oh,
a non-token creature enters a battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white unicorn creature token. So for me, this is why I like this, right? We're paying off just for playing the game, creating an army of unicorns. Maybe they might buff each other up if we talk about that a little bit later. But also, I think this is a deck that's really going to suffer to Blasphemous Axe, Anger of the Gods, that new
Yeah.
one from the Brothers War that's like destroy our artifacts or deal 3 damage. These illusions just don't have a lot of juice, and I think they're going to get eaten up pretty quickly from those sort of effects. So being able to prevent any of that kind of burn, both for you and for your army, I think is going to be critical in this like very, very low power toughness sort of build.
Yeah, I like that. Man, that's it's so do you feel like it's costed appropriately at 5 since it is
I
just
really wish it was.
non-combat damage?
I really wish it was 4, to be honest. Right?
Yeah,
I think it's a little. That's where it's kind of been hard for me to justify putting in a lot of decks because it's like, well, like I said, you kind of just get value for playing the game, but it's like unless you're playing in a heavy, pinger or some sort of meta,
sure.
is that really gonna matter? I wish it was combat damage, not the other, but maybe that's too good. I don't know.
Mm,
But I agree with you.
interesting.
I wish
Interessante.
either gave you something a little bit more or some. I don't know. You know how it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, my round 6, we are looking at Mass Reanimate here and a cool card called Storm of Souls. So 4
Ooh,
colorless white sorcery for 38 cents. Return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of them is a 1/1 spirit with flying in
whoa,
addition to its other types. And then you exile Storm of Souls. So the thing I love
wow,
about this seems like a late game blowout where we
yeah.
probably got 10, 15 creatures in the yard. Cast this. Yeah, they all come back as 1/1s.
Well, who
Who
cares?
cares? Because then we're actually getting additional copies of them as 0/1s. And the thing
Right,
I
right,
like
right.
about this is that it doesn't say, exile all creatures from your graveyard, put token copies that are 1/1 spirits onto the
Yeah,
battlefield. This is just basically overwriting their power and toughness. So they're still the non token creature versions of themselves. So if they do
right, right, right.
die and they go to your graveyard or you blink them, they will
Mhm.
then come back as their normal copies, which you've talked about it.
Right.
You're going to have buttloads of blink effects. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Storm
yeah.
of Souls is a really, really smart card.
Yeah, this is great. I think this is a banger. It's super cheap. You would categorize this as like a yeast card, right? Like this is going to be the
Oh, yeah.
card that
In
late
this
game
deck,
is
for
going to
sure.
you're going to
Hmm.
grind out so much value out of it. This is sweet. This is a really sweet card. I'd never heard of it before either.
All
Yeast it up,
right.
baby.
You're going to really like this one. So, this is a card for a measly 4 mana. Now, it does happen to everyone, and it's constantly. So, it's a little chaotic. But how about Mirror of Life Trapping? Mirror of Life
Oh,
Trapping.
I saw that. Okay, I you're gonna have to sell me on this card. I couldn't figure it out.
All right. Mirror of Life Trapping, 4 colorless artifact, 12 cents. Whenever a
Sure.
creature enters the battlefield, if it was cast, exile it. Then return all other permanent cards exiled with Mirror of Life Trapping to the battlefield under their owner's control. So this is a universal effect. So
Right.
let's just say we cast Lulu Loyal Holophant.
Okay.
We cast it, enters the battlefield, Mirror of Life Trapping goes on the stack. It then gets exiled with Mirror of Life Trapping, and then the last card that Mirror of Life Trapping had will come under its owner's control.
Yeah.
So if
It's
we
like
were
a
the
one
first
in,
one to
one
start
out,
this,
right?
exactly. But the great thing about it is that when ours come back, it doesn't come back as a cast. It just enters the battlefield.
Oh,
So
sure.
we
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
get Preston triggers left and right on this. And the nice thing is, depending on how much mana we have at a certain point in the game, you can kind of quote unquote storm by let's
Right.
go
Yeah.
this low costing card to get that one out of
Right.
exile to here. And it does happen to your opponents as well. So your opponents are probably going to find it super annoying. Like I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
wanted to cast my Shriekmaw to do its thing, but now it's getting exiled, and so I
Mhm.
maybe don't. But it does still enter the. Oh no, I guess Shriekmaw's a bad example because it enters the battlefield. Its trigger goes on the stack
Right.
because it does say enter the battlefield. Then if it was cast,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exile it. So that's a bad example. But if
But
someone
like
was looking
cards,
for their hasty
car-
Kozilek or something
or
like that,
cards that like when you cast this are like completely cut out of the game too, right?
no, because it's still a cast trigger. So cast triggers happen.
Oh,
Enter the
that'll go on
battlefield
the.
triggers
Okay, yeah.
happen.
The cast will go on the stack, then it'll get exiled, right? So in the Kozilek example, you'd still draw your cards equal to the
Yeah,
difference, right?
yeah, that still
Okay,
happens.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just more like you can't get this kind of prevents the quick one shot. Like, okay, I'm going to spend
Yes.
this mana and I'm going to ruin your world.
Right, right,
You
right.
don't really get that.
Okay,
But
yeah,
for us, once
I can
again,
buy
for
it.
us, Preston is giving us all of these illusions just off of this card. And once again, we're getting rewarded for just playing the game.
Hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, all right, I can buy it. I can buy
All
that.
right, all right,
All
all
right.
right. Well, what is your round 7?
So this one is one that I'm just using mostly for the first ability because we are going to be doing a lot of blank. We are going to be doing a lot of bouncing, but I feel like this kind of gives you like a +1 on top of that. So
Okay.
Defiler of Faith, that it's one of the new cycles from the Brothers War, I think, or Dominaria United, whatever. So 3 colorless, double white for 5/5 Phyrexian human vigilance. It's like a 52 cents. So it's got vigilance, and then as an additional cost to cast white permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. They cost white less to cast. You pay life this way. Da, da, da. It just turns all your white mana into Phyrexian mana, right? Which is cool. And then whenever you cast a white permanent spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token.
Hmm.
So again, it's kind of the same thing where it's like that 5 bucket is kind of a rough area to be in. But I feel
Yeah.
like if this sticks, we're gonna have enough reducers, enough mana rocks to really take advantage of paying that life. And with all of our bouncers, we're going to be gaining a lot of life on top of that as well. And then again, just for playing the game, we're going to get more tokens, which is going to feed back into our other token strategies. So a little expensive, but I just like that cost reduction into fueling these big blow off turns like you were just talking about.
See, I wish you could repeat do that, but it's only going to reduce it by 1. Because, like, if you have your
Oh,
double pips, it would be nice. You may pay 2 life any amount of times, and then those spells cost white less for each time you
oh,
paid life.
you may
That
pay two.
way,
Oh, it's just one. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's just
I
the
didn't get
one.
that on those. Okay, okay, okay.
So that's the only kind of poo pooey piece. But yeah, I mean, it's. I'll say this: it'll help in my storm argument with
Yes.
the mirror of life trapping, to where even just one reduction of a white pip on my white permanent spells, that is going to help.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, I wish it cost a little bit less, but what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
So I was gonna do another one, but I'm not ready there. So this is gonna get a little weird. Okay,
Okay.
this is gonna get a little weird, but I think you're gonna like this because I don't think I have a monarch in here yet. But what I do have is a venture card because I don't care if I have to sacrifice them. But when Nadir Selfless Paladin comes into play as
Ah,
a token or otherwise, we're going to be venturing through that dungeon, baby. So
nice.
Nadir is a great card, 2 colorless and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature, Dragon Knight. It's a rare, still around 70 cents, and with vigilance. So when it enters the battlefield or attacks, venture into the dungeon, and then other creatures you control get +1/+1 as long as you've completed a dungeon. So for me, again, we're blinking them, which is fine, right? We always have a target for our Conjurer's Closet, which is in the build
Sure.
already. But like what I like about it too is like even when we blink him, he comes in and we get a token copy of him. We'll still get that ability of him entering the battlefield before we have to sacrifice him. So we'll at least get something out of it every single time we blink him out, right? Because the 3/3 on him doesn't really matter, I don't
Sure.
think. It's okay, but I just like that ability that now we're gonna have a target where we're gonna be getting value, turning through dungeons. And eventually, if we get to having a dungeon complete, we have a way just to continue to buff our creatures up for that big swing at the end of the game.
Oh, dude, that's an absolute slam dunk.
You like it?
Um, I think it's interesting. I think it's cute, and I'm glad you did it because it'll feed into my round 9 card.
Oh, okay.
But completing out round 8, this card people would argue has been outclassed in Commander. It's an older school card, but I think even in like Arnadar Selfless Paladin example, I would pay the 1 additional mana more to put this
Oh,
card from my hand onto the battlefield with good over Quicksilver Amulet. So
oh, sure, yeah.
4 colorless artifact, 4
Oh,
colorless tap.
duh,
You
yeah.
may put a creature card from your hand to the battlefield.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So
Nice.
even in the Nadar example, it's like, yeah, you could cast it for 3, or I could just pay 1 mana more and I get 2 triggers with it.
Yeah, right. That's great. I love it. I also love how the new the Brothers War and the new Dominaria Master sets are just throwing card prices in disarray because this
Oh my
is
god.
the original version printing of this is $10. The new one
Yep.
with the retro frame, 50 cents. What the hell is going on here? That's awesome.
Well,
I didn't even think about that. Great, 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 great.
Well, don't worry. We're gonna make it better with
We
round
gotta
9. I told you you're a little bit on my wavelength here, and I think
okay.
a good old mirror box will help us get out
So,
of that
okay,
jam.
okay,
Free colorless
okay.
artifact. The legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. Each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1. Each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature.
Oh, yeah, okay. Because I was thinking about this one too, right? And I was like, but the tokens don't get the buff, but it doesn't matter when we have 15 Nadirs and our one is an 18/18, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, it would see what 15, 18, 19. It'd be a 19/19 because it itself would get
Yeah,
+1/+1 for the
right.
legendary creature aspect. So yeah, I think for 3 mana,
Yeah,
its floor is medium, but its ceiling is extremely high.
sure. I love it. And just to go with that, if you allow me, I have some really meaty legends I'd like to go through to supplement this with.
Ooh.
So they're both new. This one is a great new mono white standard. I'm gonna say it. I think this card is insane. Lauren of the Third Path. So it is 2 colorless and a white for a 2/1 tutorable with the crew to the guard. Legendary creature, human artificer. I assume it's Felden's daughter or something around
Mm.
$4 now. So it's a 2/1 vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, destroy up to one target artifact or enchantment. So it's already reclamation stage plus, and then tap you and
Oh.
target opponent each draw a card. So I love this ability of doing reclamation sage in white on a creature that also can potentially draw you a card. And I know we don't like drawing our opponent's cards. That's kind of how white's doing it now. So there's gonna be someone at the table who needs favor with you. So being able to
Mhm.
have these stick around is just going to turn you into like a massive card draw engine.
So I think this is kind of funny because you can also, and we'll cover this, guys and gals, at the end of the cast because we totally forgot to talk about the 8 cards
Oh
that we
yeah.
each put into the deck. But one of them was Smothering Tithe. I love how you could force an opponent to
Oh.
draw a card and give you a treasure.
Oh, hold on. Okay. Hold on. It gets even better because not
Oh god!
only
And then if you have ways to untap her, then you just
well,
force them.
yeah, okay. Oh man. Can I can I do
Oh
two? Can I do two
no,
in a row
no,
and
no!
give you
Absolutely not.
three? Ah,
No,
damn it.
absolutely
Okay.
not.
All right. I'll do this because it matches the best, and then I got two other ones that you're gonna like on top of that. And think
Okay,
of just remember the untap, right? Remember the untap.
okay.
So the other one, oh, it's not that one. Let's do okay, here we go. And then I'll do my two enchantments next one. Okay. So um this is pretty much a gimme on this one, and I hate this card. Sheldon has gone on record saying that this card shouldn't exist, but we do have hot off the presses in a couple months,
Uh
Elish
oh.
Norn, Mother of Machines, which is a nightmare because it is 4 colorless and a
Literally.
white for 4/7 legendary creature Phyrexian Praetor. That's a mythic rare with vigilance. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities of permanents your opponents control to trigger. Then what you do is you slap down your old pal mirror box, make 3 copies of this, and then then you cast one spell and win the game.
Oh my god, that's
It's
so dumb.
horrible.
I
It's
also
so
think it's
dumb.
stupid how there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different versions of this
Oh
card.
god, yeah. It's insane.
Good lord.
But yeah, it's so good. It's so good. It's so backbreaking
It's
this
so
deck.
good.
I feel like bad putting it in. Just think if you
Eh,
get one
you
extra
shouldn't.
copy of this, double panharmonicon cons.
A
It's
con, a
horrible.
con, a
A con.
con.
Let her run.
Oh my gosh. That almost makes it like it's not in my list, but a certain Helm of the Blank. Oh my,
Oh.
that almost makes that worth it to put it in here
Oh, sure.
because that just generically makes non-legend versions.
Right,
Oh my
right, right.
gosh, that's so stupid.
We did it again. We did it again.
We did it
We
again.
ruined it.
All right, what do I want to put in here? Why don't we go with? I think this is a cute card. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna do this. It's a card I'd never heard of. Came out in Lorwyn. You can get it for a cool $3 though from Conspiracy.
Oh,
We are talking Death Render.
is that
Four
the
colorless
Oh
artifact
yeah,
equipment, equipped for 2. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. When equipped creature dies, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield and attach Death Render to it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just
Sweet.
going to continually pump out illusions for us because people are going to probably want to kill the stuff that we have attached to
Yeah.
it. And that's like, oh, hey, by the
Oh
way,
God.
I'm now doing these double copies. And then also, Tuck, something to even think about. Say you do that and you do it with your Elish Norn Mother and Machines. You then get your illusion copy of Elish Norn. You could
Right.
then legend rule sacrifice the one attached to Death Renderer. Then it triggers again to
Oh
get you another
God.
one, and as long as you have legends or ways to draw cards, it could be a sort of way to constantly go
Wow.
through, a good 5, 6 triggers a
Oh
turn.
yeah. Sure. Yeah, I think that's sweet. I think this card's kind of goofy, but I like it. I think in this deck we're gonna be running so many creatures that we're just never gonna be short on something that's gonna have awesome utility, right?
Yep.
And a
All
great
right.
ETB.
And then one of my favorite cards, Tuck has seen me play it a billion times. No, not Altar of the Brood, even though it's on my list.
Yeah, we
You
might be talking about that
gotta
later.
do a Myria Shepherd if you're in a mono white
Oh
deck.
sure. Yep.
I'm
Just
just
put it in
sorry.
there.
You have to. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Green went crazy. Try to get good old
How do you spell shepherd? I think it's spelled. Is there an A in there? Sheeperd?
is
Nope.
is there an A? Sheepar?
Shepherd.
Maybe I just don't know how to spell Amiria. There we go. Oh, it's
Wow.
Sheppherd. Huh.
Oh, that's right. It's Shepherd.
Shepherd. So, I mean, I should have been able to read this just off the
Just
top of my
straight
head,
out.
but 5 colorless, white, white, creature angel, 4/4. It has flying, landfall. Whenever a land ETBs under your control, you may put a permanent card,
Yep.
non-land permanent card, from graveyard to hand. But if that was a plains, you put it straight to the battlefield, and
Yeah.
the card's 80 cents. So once again, this is a way we're in a mono white deck, so every single thing is going to be straight recursion.
Yeah.
But I do like the flexibility that we're not just restricted to creatures, because you've talked about it. We're going to have some really good enchantments. We're going to have probably some artifacts like Quicksilver Amulet that we need to use. Our mirror box, people aren't going to want
Right.
us to keep
Yeah.
that around. So being able to have a way to pull any non-land permanent straight to the battlefield is super, super powerful.
Yep.
Plus, if we could figure out a way to get a Myria Shepherd without casting it, having 2 copies, it's not even legendary. You're getting double landfall triggers.
Just bounce it. Just bounce it. Maybe that's all you got to do.
Just
We got.
bounce.
We'll have so many things to go through. Yes, I still. I know that this is one of your pet cards. It just costs so much. It's so
It's
much
so
mana to get it out
good.
there. It is good. It is good. I can get behind it here, especially in mono white.
Yep. All right. What is your round 11?
Altar of the Brood, moving right along, just stealing that one right out from under you.
Damn you. Well, you
Probably
gotta
the best
read it.
Probably the best win con in the deck, to be honest, or one of them. Damn
Yeah.
close. Altar the Brood, 1 mana for an artifact. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of his or her library into her graveyard. You're going to cast this once. You're going to mill for 30 cards over the course of the game, easy. No one's going to see it coming. They're going to
Unless
ignore
you're in
this
our
until
play
it's too
group.
late. Yep, happens. Oh yes, correct. The promo copy is now up to $30.
Why didn't I spend $10 on it? Why didn't I just
It
spend
was
$10 on
5
it?
when I first went through that giant binder of yours, or those giant cards, and like got an eye twitch. Remember we were watching Comedy Central roast in your basement? I
Oh
found like
yeah.
3 of them in there. Where the hell happened to
No, I've
those?
never had the Ugin's Fate promo.
You haven't? I thought you had at least
Uh-uh.
one. No, all
Nope.
right.
I mean, I have just foil copies of the ones from Cons of Tarkir, but I
Oh,
don't.
that's it.
I don't have any Ugin's Fate ones. But I remember they were $10, and I was like, "That's dumb. I can get non-foil versions of Alter the Brood for 90 cents, 80
Yep.
cents." And I think the foil copies of those were $3, $4. And I was like, "Well, if I want foil, I'll just get that."
You'll just get those,
That's
yeah.
stupid.
Well, even those are up to 14. Even those are up to 15. So still pricey for you.
Woofers. All
Woof
right.
indeed. All right.
Well, what's your round 12?
Oh shit! I was so this is one. This is yet another card that I love in here, and I think this is almost a staple. I put it on the list. I was gonna put it on the have to have, but we're talking about our teleportation circle. So 3 colorless and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, exile to up to 1 target artifact or creature you control, then return the card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Very similar, especially in this. There's like literally no downside to run this and Carpenter's Closet. It costs
Hmm.
1 mana less, does the exact same effect, and even in mono white, you're not gonna have a problem casting it. So it's sitting around $4 or $5, which sounds about right for the utility of it. Or you can get that dumb ampersand version for 31. So again,
Yeah, no, I
not
mean,
a,
this is an absolute slam dunk like a Conjurer's Closet,
yeah.
so I'm surprised this wasn't in your, staple list, the
It
8.
was it was, but I just wanted to I wanted to have something a
You just
little
wanted to
spicy
talk
to
about
talk
it?
about. Yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to get more people to buy this, to be honest. So I got some real heavy investments in Teleportation Circle.
Jesus. Alright. Well, we're gonna talk about a Warhammer 40,000 card coming
Wait a
up,
minute.
and it has Arcane Life support, and I think this is a great sack outlet that's not infinite, but it's gonna provide a lot of value because 'cause you're gonna be on
Let's hear
that
it.
Golden Throne, baby. The Golden
Oh
Throne, 4
yeah.
colorless, legendary artifact. If you would lose the game, instead exile Golden Throne and your life total becomes 1. Kind of like some nice in-game protection there.
Sure.
But it's really here because we can tap it, sack a creature, add 3 mana of any combination of colors. We obviously just need white.
Yep.
But it doesn't say non-token creature, so we could get rid of a crappy illusion that had an ETB effect that we don't need. More importantly, though, we can start to sacrifice our creatures that we want to get to the graveyard to be able to put them onto the battlefield to do one of our effects, and it's
To
going to
get
give
the
us
thing
3
going.
mana to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that card is going to play
Is awesome. Yeah, it's got crazy
real
play.
good.
So
Yeah.
the Golden Throne is what the Emperor of the Space Marine sits on, and I believe I'm about to get yelled at, but something like 1,000 or 10,000 people are sacrificed every day just to keep him on life support.
Jesus.
Yeah, through Warhammer 40k is dark. Oh,
That sounds.
Spencer's in there. Hi Spencer.
Woo!
But yeah,
Hello.
great. I love it. Sacrifice, ramp you, no draw, and then like also protects you in case someone just like alpha strikes you. So no further
Mhm.
questions from me.
All right. We're talking about another Unearth card.
Ooh.
And this thing just dispenses platoons in Platoon Dispenser.
Nice.
5
Is this?
colorless
I thought
artifact
this was
creature
another 40k.
construct. Nope, Brothers War. At the beginning of your
Yeah.
end step, if you control 2 or more other creatures, draw a card. Well, that'll
Slam
be
dunk.
super freaking easy. 3 colorless white, create a 1/1 white soldier artifact creature token. I guess it's just like a mana sink. But I do like
Yeah.
the Unearth for 2 colorless white to be able to bring this back, which will then bring you an illusion. That'll just then draw you cards throughout the game.
Yeah.
So I think this is a really cool card.
Yeah.
Plus, there could be some cards that I'm not talking about, and I didn't have it in my list, but where you could sacrifice artifacts to get, mana. They're very, very expensive, old legacy,
Yes.
vintage type cards.
Crack clan
Um,
ironworks and that sort of
yeah,
thing.
yep, the
Yeah.
Crack Clan Ironworks of the world. So maybe that's some sort of Rude Goldberg machine that you can kind of put together with your double tokens. If you're
Oh
able
sure.
to produce 4, it pays for itself. You got to figure out how to take care of the white. But yeah, I
Make a
think having Unearth, Blink, and put from your hand to the battlefield effects are just so critical to make Preston
yeah.
work.
Yep, agreed. And like I said, the draw is great. Um, I I think it's really cool. I think it's a great pick. Got something
Hey.
to do with your leftover mana. No complaints here. Gonna do a lot for the deck.
All right. Well, give us round 13 before we head to our next commercial break.
So I'm gonna do 2 quick ones that do the exact same thing, and then I'll
You're
let
gonna
you.
do
And then I'll.
one, and then we're going to the
Oh come on!
commercial. No,
All
you're not gonna break the rules.
right. We're drawing so many cards. We have to have ways to protect us against that, right? And also, so far we have not talked about any mana rocks, and seeing as how this is a mono white deck, we are gonna need some serious help with that. So the first one that I'll talk about before we go to commercial is a simple thought vessel. So 2 colorless for an artifact. It taps for 1 colorless mana, and then also gives you no maximum hand size. This is still $3, even though it's been printed about 100 times. So It's super efficient, enters the battlefield untapped, does the thing that we need. We're going to be drawing so many cards. I want to make sure that we have our pick of the litter.
Hey, and I take insult to that. The Golden Throne's clearly a mana rock. It just takes 10,000
That's
souls
just,
a day to keep it alive.
yeah, exactly. There you go.
All right. Well, we would love for you guys, if you don't want to pay, well, it's probably about the same money there, but, abyssproxyshop.com using code CMD Tower will get you 10% off your order. It's a massive, massive store with tons of different playtest arts pulled from all over the internet, some of their own designs. But the cool thing is that they do have a custom catalog from all the different requests that people have done in. BigTuck, the question of the day that everyone's curious about is how big is your card?
I thought that I went through and trimmed it down, so we're gonna find out. It is up to hold on. Okay, it's loading now. I just logged in. With the 10% that we have without CMD Tower, it's $171.
Jeez.
Effectively an entire deck in and of itself.
So, that's a thing, guys. So, but it's a great shop. They do high quality stuff. Whenever you guys buy stuff from our Etsy store, which we'll talk about a little bit later, we always include one of our CMD Tower proxies in there. So if you're looking for some playtest cards and you're looking to support CMD Tower, just go to abyssproxyshop.com and be sure to use our code CMD Tower at checkout for 10% off and helps us out a little bit. So Big Tech, get on with it. What's your other mana rock?
All right, Decanter Mentalist Water. It's the exact same thing as Thought Vessel. It just costs one more mana. So,
Sounds pretty bad then.
3 colorless for an artifact, no maximum hand size, and it taps for 1 mana of any color, just in case you need that mana fixing in mono white. But for me,
so just a better manolith.
Yeah, exactly. Suck on that, squee. I just like. Oh, and also here's a weird thing about this: the alternate art version is cheaper than the other one by like $2. Yeah, bizarre.
Wow.
So I just think we're gonna be drawing a ton of cards in this deck, especially for mono white. So I just want to make sure that we're not gonna have any discard really any unless we have to from a Hymn to Turok or something along those lines.
All right. Well, I wanted more recursion, and I thought this is a real cute way to do it. It's a little pricey to initially get out, but the great thing is that it has an ETB effect that our illusion will get to do as well. So I thought Magnanimous Magistrate is a real interesting card for the deck. 5 colorless white, it's 9 cents. Creature Human Advisor. When it ETBs, it comes in with 5 reprieve counters. It's a 3/4. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, if its mana value is 1 or greater, you may remove that many reprieve counters from Magnanimous Magistrate, and if you do, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So effectively, if one of your 5 drops gets destroyed, you can just remove all 5 reprieve counters, and it immediately comes back. This is also nice protection for Preston, which we'll get to with my next card that I'm going to talk about, with those board wipes that can happen and stuff. But this is just a really great way to protect your commander, protect your key non-token stuff. But then when you get that illusion, now you're doing it doubled up. And then hopefully you get more of those illusions. And man, that could just really make it hard for people to deal with you.
This is like what the best target for Quicksilver Amulet we've talked about so far.
Oh my gosh.
This is like got to be up there, right? You reduce it by 2 and get an illusion. So now you have double protection.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I love it. Yeah. It's like I said, it's a little costly, like you said, but if you can cheat it out, if you can reanimate somehow, this is going to get you a ton of value and really help you punch into the late game, which I think this deck might have a little struggle with.
All right. So the card that really makes this card work well, sometimes there's a sunrise, but sometimes there's a second sunrise. Second sunrise. Colorless, white, instant.
I thought you were going to go approach the second sun. It's like, wait, what?
No.
Okay.
Instant. Each player returns to the battlefield all artifact, creature, enchantment, and land cards in their graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. So the great thing about this is you got your Magnanimous Magistrate.
Yeah.
You do whatever sack outlet you need to do on your turn that kind of just generates you all this mana. You remove your counters because you had to sacrifice Preston. Preston now comes back. Everything else is gone. You then cast this. Now all of your creatures that died now immediately come back to the battlefield with
Wow.
illusions attached to them. Yes, your opponents, if this happened on one of your opponent's turns, would get all of their stuff back as well. But who cares? You doubled your board state.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. This card is sick. I think there's no, I think the other one's Orzov. But yeah, this is going to be so great. You're going to come back from this, and like I think it's about. It's going. Do you view this like a yeast card, or is it still a hops card for you?
I think it's a hops card because it's only a yeast card if you can have it set up to where
Yeah.
like Preston will not die no matter what. So if
Right.
someone's
Right.
like I'm board wiping and you maybe have the indestructible equipment attached to Preston,
Mm-hmm.
okay, sure, it could be your
Sure.
yeast card, but I think, this just has good synergy with Magnus
Right.
Magistrate but I think Magistrate's good on its own.
Right.
And I
Right.
still
Right.
think this is good on its own because if you need to bring all your stuff back, you need to bring your stuff back. I mean, that's just the
Yeah.
way it is.
Even
But if you're
even
able
it's good
to
protection even if you don't have the monster
correct,
set up for it, right?
but if
Yeah.
you're able to do not even a Rube Goldberg machine, if you're just able to do the machine and have
Yes.
this with some way to have Preston stay on the battlefield, that's where it just becomes wow.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's really cool.
All
I like
right,
it. I like it.
complete round 15, sir.
All right. So again, more. I want more card draw. I'm sick of having not enough in white, so I'm putting it all in. And this one's going to help us smooth it out as well with Rumor Gatherer. It's a colorless white for 2/1 creature elf wizard. It's 14 cents. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. If this is the second time this ability is resolved this turn, draw a card instead. So
Oh yeah, I think I saw
we're
this
got
card.
we're helping smooth out our draws a little bit just by playing the game, and then once we get our Preston machine rolling on the ETBs, especially if we're doing it preferably on our opponent's step, maybe with Quicksilver Amulet, this is going to be a great way for us to draw cards, even when we start making copies for it. So, and you can tutor it with the Recruit of the Guard as well. So, kind of just like a straight ball down the middle there for that one.
Yeah, no, I like it. It was one of the ones I did see to potentially talk about. I'm glad you did because it ended up not making my list because I wanted to get like some game winners in.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I like the fact that it's just whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control,
Yep.
they're not making it more difficult than it needs to be,
I
which
agree.
I like. They could have said non-token creature whenever another token or whenever a token creature enters the
Yep.
battlefield under your control, scry one. So the fact that it's just kind of open and it just works. And the fact that you can do this on everyone's turn, it's not just
Exactly.
only during your turn. It has a lot of upside.
Yeah, so I thought it was like a cool, kind of easy inclusion in there. The next one is I didn't lean too hard into this because I don't know how much we need, but I do think that there is some room for populate in here. And root-borne defenses, I thought is kind of a cute way to block that.
Populate's so bad.
What, populate? But this one you at least get something with it, right? So 2 colorless and a white for an instant, populate, and then creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn, right? So I mostly am playing this for the latter bit, where it's kind of like a heroic invention plus a populate on it, and its
Hmm.
budget, it's like 23 cents. So just in case there could be like a cityscape reveler, or one of the other ETBs destroy things, you can kind of be reactionary to a board wipe or just kind of make another copy of something you need, and then the indestructibles maybe just something that you go into attacks with. So for
See, I
me,
just
I just
hate
like
I just don't like how populate's only one. That's
it is
that's the
one,
thing I don't
yeah,
like about it.
yeah. So that's why I think I would caution people to stray away from too much populate, but this one at least protecting and potentially being an offensive weapon when you go to attacks, thought it might be good enough to make the list.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I don't hate
Pretty easy
it.
ones for me.
I'm just
Just
it's not as greasy as the next two cards I'm going to talk about. So I
oh,
got I got to do it now cuz I got to do
okay,
them back to back.
okay,
You already know what it is. How do you go infinite in mono white with Creech?
infinite. What?
Brr, 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 brr. Let's talk about
Oh,
Revelar.
oh, 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 oh.
Four
All right, all right,
colorless
all right, all right.
white.
Yeah, yeah.
Creature elemental. It's a 4/3 flying. It has evoke for 5 colorless white. You may cast a spell for its evoke cost. If you do, it's sacrifice when it enters the battlefield. When Revelark leaves the battlefield, return up to 2 target creature cards of power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And of course, Revelark is bringing its friend, Karmic Guide. Karmic Guide,
It's friend.
three colorless, white, white, creature, angel, spirit, flying, protection from black. It has echo, 3 colorless, white, white. Beginning of your upkeep. If this came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay its echo cost. When Karma Guide enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So effectively, Revelark and Karmic Guide, even independently, are
Yeah.
going to give you illusions because they're just bringing
Right.
stuff
Right.
back
Right.
without it being cast. But the fact that they play into each other, and now Tuck, you're getting additional copies of Karmic Guide and additional copies of
Right.
Revelark every single time. That is pretty freaking powerful. You're effectively going to be able to churn through your deck, and I will have a payoff card for this, but I'm not like you. I'm not going to cut, so I'll talk about it at pick 18. But how do you
we
feel about Revlark
we
and
already
Karma Guide?
have one. It's called Alter the Brood. That's the ultimate
Uh,
payoff card here.
that's fair. But sometimes you can't mill people out, and I got something to do with that.
Ooh.
But how? I mean, do you feel like these are too greasy in here? Because the way I look at it is, we're not in black, so we
Yeah.
can't just straight tutor it. We're not in green, so we can't creature tutor it. We just kind of have to
They
naturally
they
draw.
make sense. They make sense in and of. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I can't remember when it happened, but like it's like who said this to me? It was maybe Dana Roach, or someone from the Commander Smiths, but they were like, this is the astronauts argument, the astronauts alter argument, the AAA, right? Where it's like, you put it into a deck and it's just good, and then eventually you just go infinite with it because you like didn't see the repercussions of it, right? So
Sure.
like, I feel like both these cards in this deck are good, obviously, right? They fit the themes very well. It just is like a bummer that they can kind of go infinite in just by playing the game.
Yeah.
Especially because you can tutor Karmic Guide with Recruiter of the Guard. So you do have a little bit of that there. So I think it's fine. I just think if you win by, this would be something where if I had it in hand, I'd be like, I'm not gonna go infinite with this, right? Unless I can win on the spot.
Sure.
Which I guess you kind of can anyways, because you just make an army of these things. But I think
Yeah.
it's fine. I think it's fine. It's definitely greasy. It's definitely up your alley.
So
You had to have at
greasy.
least one of them in there, so I'll let it pass. I give it a pass
All
this time.
right. All right. Well, what is your 17 and 18 pick before my 18, and then we get to lightning round time?
Well, then we go to lightning round. So I am gonna go with a big payoff. I think this is gonna go well with your Cityscape Reveler because we're gonna start being able to pick off things. This is kind of like upgraded Sky Shroud, or Skyclave Operation. Excuse me, with Cavalier of Dawn. So 2 colorless, triple white for 4 Sith Elemental Knight. That's a mythic for about
Got
$3. It's got vigilance. When an ETBs destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent, its controller creates a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token, which we kind of talked about as like, who cares, right? Okay, I just blew up your omniscience. Enjoy your
Sure.
golem, right? But then when it dies, return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. And I think we do
Okay.
have a lot of really powerful enchantments and artifacts with Teleportation Circle, Conjuring's Closet, Smothering Tide, and the like, that there's going to be targets for that and things that we are going to want to get back.
So I like this also because it doesn't state something you don't control. So you could also target an
Oh,
illusion. You could actually turn one of your 0/1 illusions that literally just
into
had an ETB effect, and then it was done
yeah,
into now a 3/3. It's a little bit of an upgrade.
sure.
Now there in the game of EDH, there should be other non-land permanent targets that you
You would
want to
think there
do.
would be better targets.
But you love politics. If it's just like people's mana rocks, and you're like,
Yeah,
if I start picking off their mana rocks, I'm gonna make no friends. And you're like,
right.
hey guys, look, here's the thing. ETB trigger on the stack. I'm gonna leave all of y'all alone. I'm just gonna pick off an illusion. Like,
Yeah.
look,
Who
I'll
cares?
target my own thing. You guys don't need to worry about it. Like, I'm only gonna use its effect if someone really gets out of control. It gives you that political arm a
Oh,
little bit,
sure.
and you do love that.
I think it's great. And like I said, if it dies, it dies. And you just get something back in return no matter what. So
Yep.
we didn't I'm surprised we haven't really talked too much about my next pick or the like of it, because I feel like all of our blink effects have been like creature based, right? As opposed to
Okay.
spell. And I think there's one that is miles above almost all the other blink spells, and that one is Lazel's Acrobatics, which I'll get into why I hate this. I don't like this card and the people on it for in a second, but it's a beast. So 3 colors and a white for an instant. Exile all non-token creatures you control, then roll a d20. So 1 through 9, return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. But if you roll a 10 through 20, which I mean it's a 50% chance of doing it, right? return
Mhm.
those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control, and then exile them again. So when you cast this, there's cards that's like ethereal something or another that's 2 colorless and a white that do the first part just on the nose for 1 less, right?
Mhm.
But for me, I like the idea of paying an extra mana to roll the dice to be able to get 2 of those effects. I mean, if you look at the cards that we've talked about now, you double that, you're going to destroy like 4 permanents, draw 9 cards, who knows what else, right? If you can get that 10 through 20, it's so backbreaking.
Uh, no.
No?
No. Because it's gonna exile all non-token creatures you control, which would include
Correct.
Preston.
Oh.
I don't think he sees any of them come back because they all come back at the same time.
But yeah, he would see them when they come back because they all
Well, like you see death triggers because it's like already on the
right.
battlefield. But if you're
But when
all
they come,
doing this,
it's like the Cathars. It's a Cathars crusade. Like they all, if you have 10 tokens enter the battlefield at once, they all see each other.
Cathar sees them,
Right.
but the tokens don't necessarily see each other. It's just Cathar's Crusade sees them all.
Right, but it sees them all come in at once, so they all get the same. They all get the same blast of tokens on
Yeah,
them.
no. Yeah,
Right.
that's right. But that's because Cathar's Crusade is static on the
Sure.
battlefield and it sees them all come in. It puts all of its triggers, and so they all get it. But it's not
But
like if you blinked your entire board and then brought back with Cathar's Crusade doesn't see all that stuff.
hold on, I'm gonna see. I'm interested about this because I would think. Okay. Untapped. I don't know, guys. Take it to the.
Take it to the
Uh,
cord.
Lemony says you choose the order of ETB so you can trigger Preston with it, even if it's in the yard when you cast Sunrise. He will see everything because you can have
Mm.
him come down first, right? When on
No, no,
exile,
no,
when it
no, no,
comes
no, no.
back.
No. They all come in at the same time. You don't choose the order in which they come back.
So,
Yeah,
but they
that's
still would.
definitely not right.
You don't think so? I don't
No,
know.
well, no. I just know for a fact if your creatures exile all non-token creatures you control and then return those cards to the battlefield, you don't choose the order in which they come back. You can't say, "Well, I want this one to come back in, and I want this one to wait, and I want this one to wait." They all enter at the same time.
So on the Ask the Judge, some guy came in and said, "Okay, wait, I just lost it." So he said, "Hey guys, with Brago, if I blink 2 permanents off his trigger, do they see each other when they ETB? Meaning, can they target each other? Example: Flicker Wisp and Reflector Mage both blink. Can Flicker Wisp target Reflector Mage
Yeah,
when they
that's
both
that's
re-enter?"
but see, that's not a good example because when they enter the battlefield, their triggers go on the stack, and then you can point your triggers wherever you want because the permanents are there. I don't know what card we'd have to look up, and we'll let it go to the Discord
We'll
and let
figure it.
you
Yeah,
guys
we'll put it on the scoreboard.
debate it out. But yeah, no, that example doesn't work because it's their triggers that are sitting
Triggers
on the
that see each other,
stack,
sure.
and then you can just point it at whatever you want, and you can point them at each other because the permanents have to be there for the triggers to be there.
Sure. So I don't know if it works, then it
The
works.
one
If
through
not,
nine
then maybe
work.
it's not a great pick.
Well, yeah, I mean it's yeah, we'll just have to. I don't know.
We'll have
But
to.
you know
We'll
what
just
we
have
do
to.
know?
Is that
I
it's your
got
pick?
my payoff card, blasting station.
Oh God.
3
Okay.
colorless artifacts, sack
Sure.
a
Why
creature,
not?
blasting station deals 1 damage to any
Oy,
target. Whenever a
oy,
creature
oy.
ETBs, you may untap blasting station. So Revel Art Karmic Guide, blasting station, win the game.
Well, why not?
Why
I
not?
mean, you have enough. I think there's enough stuff in here where you can kind of. This is still good enough, right? With
Yeah.
sacrificing non-tokens and untapping it, and you can start picking stuff off. So,
Or once again,
um,
like we talked about, like sometimes our illusions have an ETB effect, and then they're done, and they're just
yeah,
zero
right.
one
You're like,
illusions.
who cares, right?
Yeah,
So
who cares?
it's like at that point it almost becomes like a goblin bombardment in monocolor, right? And
Yeah.
not red. So I don't love the greasiness that comes with infinite combo, but I do love the utility of it. So you got me on that.
Well, before we head to the lightning round, we do want you guys to hear about our great Etsy store. If you guys go to Etsy.com and type in CMD Tower into the search bar, you'll find our great store. And that's where we do have our holiday Jund sweaters or winter Jund sweaters for sale. We do have our foil
Gent.
playmats, our reminder tokens, our monarch tokens, our coins. I mean, we got a lot of really cool stuff on there. And just like all the other promo stuff we've talked about tonight, guys, really when you do make those purchases, it does help the channel. It helps pay down all the investment that we've made into the channel, on the hopes of the returns, improved equipment and such. But it also helps us reinvest back into the channel. And so, if you have anything or if you're looking for some swag, just remember to head to CMD Tower or head to Etsy.com and use CMD Tower in the search bar to find our great store. Now,
And I don't know if you looked
oh,
at that recently. Our average review is 5 out of 5 stars.
hell yeah.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. All right. Lightning
So
round.
you're starting the lightning round,
Yep,
right?
I'm starting it.
Okay.
I think all of my lightning rounds are going to be yeast.
Okay. I like that.
Eldrazi Monument. Enough
Yeah,
said.
sure. Yep.
5 colorless artifact creatures you control get +1/+1 and have flying and indestructible at the beginning of your upkeep. Sack a creature if you can't sacrifice the monument. I mean, we're going to
Very
sacrifice them
strong.
on
Yep.
tokens to get them to the yard to hopefully bring them back to do something else. The other thing I do like about this is it does turn our illusions into something at least.
Yeah.
Giving them +1/+1 and indestructible. It's kind of nice because it does feed in well with Lulu Loyal Holofont because then we can swing with them all. They're tapped, and then they'll all untap and get +1 counters and just kind of
Yeah, yeah.
continually get big. We don't ever feel the risk of like, well, they're just gonna chump with their 1/1 elves and kill all of our 0/1 illusions
Sure.
to get the stupid trigger. So it's boring, but it's necessary boring.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Why not?
Why?
Nothing not to like about it.
All right. Well, what's yours?
I had one. Give me 1 second.
And then you had a senior moment.
All right. I'm gonna throw out a love to Cameron the Tree Folk Lord because I was gonna do Cathar's Crusade, but the thing that I hate about Cathar's Crusade is how much
The math.
busy work it gives you. Yes. So I just looked it up, and there is a card from Stupid Unfinity that does similar things, but just not quite as good, and that's Starlight Spectacular. So 2 colorless, double white for an enchantment. It has Parade because it's stupid. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose creatures you control one at a time until each creature you control has been chosen. Each of those creatures gets +1/+1 at end of turn for each creature chosen before it. So you just stack them all up in a row and just go of that. So
Oh my
it's
god.
not as good as Cathar's Crusade, but I hate Cathar's Crusade because it just turns into a nightmare of juggling dice and putting sticks and stickers down. It's horrible. So I'm Cameron. This one's for you. We're going with Starlight Spectacular.
Huh. That's kind of interesting that you picked that one.
Right?
Because I mean, I still feel like it has a lot of busy work.
It is, but it's less like because it's not. It's the thing. The argument he brought up, which I like, is like it's not turn over turn. It's just like one time and then you can move from it, right? So you don't
That's
have to
fair.
line up a bunch of dice and all that crap.
All right. Well, my next pick. I think we're gonna. Sometimes you just need a big beat stick, and there's nothing better than Mace of the Valiant. So Mace of the Valiant is 2 colorless white artifact equipment. It gets equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each charge counter on
Oh
Mace of
God.
the Valiant and has vigilance. Whenever
Sure.
a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a charge counter on Mace of the Valiant, equipped for 3.
And then I'm gonna punch you in the face for 400 with my commander because you can't stop me.
So yeah, I mean it's kind of on its face. It doesn't count
Stupid
token,
+1/+1.
non-token.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. All
and
right.
actually,
Okay.
if you think about it, we always talk about removal bait.
Sure.
If this, it's like, what do you want to remove? Mirror Box, Death Renderer, Mace of the Valiant, Altar of the Brood. It's like we're gonna have
Yeah.
too many options for them to truly pick from, and then we're gonna have ways to bring the stuff back that they did destroy.
Correct.
And so, as much as I would think that if they saw our deck list, it's like I should probably save my disenchant for this card. they're probably not going to think about it because they're going to see all this
Right.
other stupid stuff
They're gonna
we're
see
doing.
all the too much They're gonna see way too much value, including but not limited to immediate should kill on sight card, coat of arms. If we're just
Oh
talking
my!
about cards, just to
You
blow
finally
right
put
through.
it in a deck. Look at you.
I was thinking about it today, and I was like, "This is too good not to." So, coat of arms, 5 colorless for an artifact. Each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least one creature type with it. I think we're gonna have so many illusions. We're already running a bunch of different tokens. A lot of these tokens have bizarre, like, a lot of these, a lot of these creatures have like human soldier or whatever.
Hmm.
So I just think we're like, again, this card is a total 50-50 coin flip of either win or die by it, right? It's like the sword. So I think in this deck, in this build specifically, we're gonna have more times to win by it than we're gonna lose by it. I also am
Uh,
discouraged that it's like $20.
there's $15 copies,
Ugh. It's not even a
or you
gold
could get
border,
the
man.
10th edition, I guess, foil copy or star copy for $80.
Good grief.
Good grief, Charlie
No,
Brown. All
no
right.
thanks.
I was waiting because I was hoping you were going to talk about it, but you hadn't yet, and I'm getting worried. We got to put Sun Titan in. It's just,
Why?
what do you mean, why? It's amazing in this
It is
deck.
good.
Four
This card just
colorless,
sucks
white,
so
white,
bad.
creature giant, 6/6, vigilance. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Tuck, when we get an
We have
illusion copy of it, it's now doubled. It enters the
we have
battlefield,
so
and
many,
then when
and
it,
we have so many like 3 mana or less cards in here too.
yeah, there's a ton. And it's nice because we can bounce around. Like if they got rid of our Mace of the Valiant or Alter the Brood, we'll bring
Yeah,
those back because it is just target permanent. This
sure.
also makes it worthwhile to run the shitty fetch lands because now we can bring those back
Oh
and
yeah,
crack them to go help ramp. There's so much good for a mono white deck with this card, but especially the deck that we've built, it's kind of hard to justify not putting it in the list.
yeah. All right. Fine. You can also
All right.
You can finally spend $7 for it if you want for the secret lair nonsense. Ugh.
All
All
right. Well,
right.
what's your pick 21?
I'm going back to having fun because I think this card is more and more and more fun the more you play it. And again, we're gonna have plenty of creatures to do this with. So Halo Fountain, let's go. 2 colorless and a white for an artifact. It's a mythic rare for around $3. White tap, untap target creature you control, create a 1/1 green and white creature citizen token. 2 white tap, untap 2 target creatures you control. Draw a card. Then finally, of course, 5 colorless tap, untap 15 tapped creatures you control. You flat out win the game. What's not to like?
And
We're drawing cards.
I
We're making more tokens. We already have Anointed Procession. Value, value, value. And then you just win out of nowhere.
I don't know if it's went out of nowhere because people
They're
are
going to see that
clearly
you
going to
have.
see it.
They're going to
Now,
see,
I
like, wait
would
a minute. You
say
have 15 untapped creatures.
I still no. You have to untap 15
Correct.
creatures,
You have
so that
15
means you have
tapped
to tap
creatures.
them. Yeah. So here's the thing that, and you and I talked about this in the last deck that we put this card in. It works in a deck where you can actually tap your creatures for effects, but
Oh,
something where
sure.
you're having to rely on not having vigilance and swinging and not having any of those creatures die. It's too sweaty. It's so sweaty.
But it's still good. Like, that's the thing. We're still drawing more cards and creating tokens. It's got like, if we can win on it, great. But if not, we still got the juice. We still got the juice.
Still got the juice. All
We
right.
still got the juice. They can never take that away from us, Mr. Combo.
Well, this isn't a game-winning card, but I feel like a jerk for not talking about it earlier, so it will take one of my game-winning slots. Distinguished Conjurer, amazing.
Oh,
Colorless white, creature human wizard, 1/2.
yeah.
Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. 4 colorless
Yep.
white, exile another target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Great mana sink. You're not restricted to doing it on your turn or sorcery speed. It gives you a Soul Warden type of effect with how many creatures we're going to have enter the battlefield, all that life we're going to gain.
Yep.
And it's a 1/2. And if we're able to, I would even pay 4 to use my
Sure.
Quicksilver Amulet to put this out. Getting 2 life for every creature that enters the
Yeah.
battlefield? Oh, hell yeah.
I think it's like good enough just on that nose, right? But then you also have the flicker ability on it too. I feel like this is a
Hmm.
card that, like, in Jumpstart they didn't do too many new cards that were like matched. But this is definitely one that's like, okay, this is like slam dunk pair with this, right?
Yep.
If you're gonna have Preston, you might as well have the Distinguished Conjurer to go with it.
100% agree.
Love it.
All right, Tuck.
This is
22.
a card I want to see more people play, I think, but I'm always convinced. I'm never convinced on what deck to go with. But here it plays into our reanimation. It's a protection spell, and we're gonna get some copies of what we're bringing back too, because we got brought back. 2 white for an instant. Choose up to 2 target permanent cards in your graveyard that are put there from the battlefield this turn. Return them to the battlefield tapped at instant speed for about $1.76. So reactionary, right? 2 Sun Titans if someone blows that up. 2 copies of, or what, maybe you get a copy of Preston back and then you get something else when they ETB together. I just like this for how cheap it is, right?
Hmm.
It's a reanimate spell, it's reactionary, kind of like a worse Second Sunrise.
Yeah. Well, and you could argue that it's a better Second Sunrise because it doesn't bring back your opponent's stuff. Because Second Sunrise
Oh,
does
that's
bring
true. Yeah.
everyone's stuff back. Um, so yeah, no, I like it, and I mean it's cheap, it's easy. You might even use this non-reactionary, just like I
Yeah.
kind of need to blink stuff and try to get effects to help establish my board.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Nice.
All right.
And it's target permanent, just like Sun Titan, right? So you
Ooh,
can do, if you
nice.
fetch, those sort of things.
Alrighty. We'll just, man, I had to go boring. Phyrexian Altar.
Oh.
So I was debating do Ashnod or Phyrexian, but I feel like Phyrexian is sweatier to abuse because you only get 1 mana
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
2 mana. And if Scryfall wants to not be a turd, well, it's 3 colorless. It's an artifact. I think there's a copy that was printed in Eternal Masters. I think they're hella expensive now.
They're like
Um,
30. They're still 26 and up.
And effectively, guys, it says sacrifice a creature, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And there we go. Now it
Yep.
finally loads once I've read it all. So yeah, I think we, we have our blasting station, we have our Phyrexian
Yep.
altar, we have the Golden Throne, we have Eldrazi Monument, even though that's only once a turn, and I guess the Golden Throne is once a turn as well. We need sacrifice outlets if you truly want to make this deck function how it should. Now,
Yeah.
if you think you're just going to live on the blink side, where that's kind of like where Tuck led in the beginning of the episode, then I think you can kind of scrap the sack outlets and maybe have still your Sun Titan for a graveyard recursion, but just, kind of live off of that. But I think in the build that I want to do, I want to have a blend of putting
Yeah.
stuff from
Yep.
hand, bringing stuff from graveyard, blinking things from exile, because I don't want my opponents to shut down one of them and then I'm just screwed. Like if you just went
Right.
soul graveyard on this, a single rest in peace ruins your day.
Yep.
Also, if you just solely rely on blink, that 1 white card where it's like if a creature enters the battlefield, actually I think that says it if it wasn't cast, actually exile it. Um, so yeah, I guess
Like,
that kind of just screws the deck
or
overall.
like Torpor Orb shuts this deck down completely, right?
Yeah, there you go. So it's just we just need
Yeah.
ways to be diverse in how we're doing it because I think the theme for the deck should just be getting non-tokens to the battlefield without casting them. Like it doesn't
Sure.
matter how we're achieving that.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm with you on that.
All right, well, what's your final pick, Michael Jordan?
I think you got to go with another goat of a nice little baby cat because you just got to put it in here. I'm pretty sure this goes infinite, like 6 ways from Sundays in this deck, but we'll go with it anyways. Felidar Guardian, so 3 colors and a white for 1/4. When it ETBs, you may exile another target permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So as soon as you like blink this once with Preston, doesn't it just go infinite?
Uh,
Because
with
you you
itself,
you
I
rea-
think so.
you reanimate it. It makes a copy of it. Then you blink that Then you blink that new copy. The token uh blinks the physical version of it. That comes back. That enters the battlefield. Then that will cause another one to come in, which will blink that. I think it just goes.
Yeah.
I think it just goes raw infinite with this and the commander, right?
Wow. Yeah, I think you're right. Also, that's kind of sorry, everyone. OBS popped up and told me that my computer doesn't have sufficient disk space, so it stopped recording. I have
Oh.
1.6 terabytes free. I don't know what they mean by that. So, well, I guess you guys will just be getting the Twitch version of
There you
this
go.
and the good old 720p. But yeah, no, Felidar Guardian, awesome, good card. I think it
Cheese,
totally
total
makes
cheese
sense in here.
fact, total cheese
Oh
factory. But
yeah,
what can you do?
yep. All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna pause the audio. We're going to go to a "We'll be right back" screen on Twitch, and we're going to plug this into Tapped Out and start talking about the deck that we finally ended up with. So, BRB. All right, and now we are back. Tuck,
We're
let's
back,
see
baby.
the monster that we made.
This is pretty. This is a bad one. I think.
All right,
I think this. I think this.
so
I think this. I think this is rough. No, I mean like as in
uh,
it's good, like truly a monster.
all right, we got 37 lands, like we talked about.
Yes.
6 instants. Actually, that's kind of funny because I think that almost aligns pretty close, maybe short 3, 4 cards than what the
Yep.
EDH Rec standard was. 3 sorceries. I think the EDH Rec had it at 4.
Hmm.
8 enchantments. I think that's pretty close. We went heavy in the artifacts. 19.
Ugh.
26 creatures and the Planeswalker. Tuck, what does the competitive and CMC look like?
It says it's a 71% competitive, which like I could see maybe because we put in some pretty degen stuff, like a 1 card infinite combo with Felidar Guardian in a way to, well, we don't really have a way to tutor it, but that seems a little off. What do you think about that?
And then what's the CMC?
Oh, where is that? Oh man, I see, oh 3/5. Ugh.
Yeah, it's a little high, right?
A little bit, but I mean, we got plenty of mana rocks. We got enough low cost creatures that are gonna draw us cards. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what we look like by, and it's sitting at around $600 reduce. So
Yeah, but I bet you some of that's generated from the Elish Norn because I think that's going for like big
Yeah.
dollars right
Well,
now.
the mana crypt's 185 itself, so
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I guess we should have before we added all these
oh
like
shit.
talk about the cards that we added. So, I mean, I think we pretty much like it was like land tax, Esper Sentinel, Anointed Procession, Smothering Type.
Secret Rendezvous, Winds of Abandon for our board wipe, which is a great pick because it's one sided, right? So,
Yep.
or it's like not one sided, or it is one sided, I guess.
Yeah, it's
I think
opponent
that's it.
sided. There you go.
Yeah. And then a couple of mana rocks. I think that was it. I think we got pretty much
Yeah,
got it
Soul
covered
Ring,
there.
Mana Crypt. Just try. Oh, Marble Diamond. You
Yep.
had in there.
And
Uh,
Marble Diamond, and then the
Path to Exile.
and there's one other one, the one that's it's not Marble Diamond. It's the other mana reduction one, I think. No, maybe that wasn't in there. But yeah, I think that covers it.
Yeah. Oh, you had a Weathered Wayfarer in
Wayfinder.
there, and I
Yeah.
had a Welcoming Vampire.
Hmm.
And Welcoming
Correct.
Vampire, guys, if you're not familiar with this card, this is a banger.
Oh, it's
Two
incredible.
colorless white, creature vampire 2/3 flying. Whenever one or more other creatures with power 2 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn. So if you can figure out a way to do illusions on everyone's turns, you're drawing
Yeah.
4 cards of rotation plus your upkeep one. So you're getting 5 cards of rotation. That's
And just
so good.
imagine bouncing this, and then now, because like I think I have heard people are now starting to cut Mentor the Meek for this card, just because it's
Oh, really?
yeah. The people I was listening to our friends over at
Oh,
the
Mentor the
MTG
Meek's on our list as
Goldfish.
well.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was one we added. So
Yep.
what do you? Okay, I'm looking over this. This looks pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie.
Um,
What do you think?
I think I would want to do some like gold fishing with it online because the biggest thing that
Yeah,
I'm curious about is like, do we have enough mana in the deck to where
right.
we're not just playing a card a turn like in Marvel Snap? Yes, you guys got me into it. I hate you all.
Are you still playing?
Um, yeah, I'm 730 something on my
Oh my
collection
god!
deal. And the new season started, so I hover around 40, like
Right,
anywhere from like 38 to 42, 43. That's usually where I kind of hover around.
sure.
But yeah, no, my only question. Do we have
Right.
enough mana things in here? And one of the cards I didn't even get to talk about because we ran out of space was a way to kind of make sure our um unearth cards actually can hang around. Plus, oh man, I didn't even talk about. I wanted to talk about loyal retainers. That's a great card.
Yeah.
Um, Absolutely busted. But no, there's a card. Trying to see if I just recognize the name. But effectively, it's an enchantment, and you can exile your unearth cards, and it foregoes the unearth effect, but costs like 4 mana to do it. So I meant to put that into the list, but I got distracted with the other cards. So
Ah,
I think if you wanted to, you might even be able to cut some of the unearthed cards
yep.
that I have, because even as we've been talking about it, like how I don't believe the Lazelle's acrobatics work. I actually don't think unearth works with Preston because you're going to make a copy of that non-token card, which would have the
Yeah.
unearth exile component. So you'd lose the illusion at the end of turn. Um, you
It's
could probably
meticulous excavation is the one you were talking about. It's
thank
a
you,
one drop
thank you.
enchantment, 2 colorless and a white. Return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. If it has unearthed and said exile it, then return that card to its owner's hand. I think that's actually pretty dope. Like as a way to protect yourself too. I don't know. Maybe that's good though.
Yeah, I mean, you would just need a way to. I think you would have to have that in here if you're gonna have the other unearthed cards. If you're not gonna put that
Yeah.
in, you could probably cut the 3 unearthed cards I put in, and maybe that's just what you do for more mana rocks, just more
Yeah.
generic stuff to help. But no, I think this is an interesting deck. It's not one I'm gonna say I'm gonna build. 'Cause I'm not paying $20 for this stupid ass rabbit wizard, but it's interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a fun one. Like this was different. It's not a play style I use very often, so I had a really good time looking this up and digging this out
Mhm.
the other night. So,
This
good
seems like
good
the kind
pick.
of deck Sir Nathan would build, hands
Yeah,
down.
right. Or like single Aaron, right?
Oh
Where it's just
god,
like
single
a
Aaron
value
would so
train to
do that.
nowhere.
Yep. But guys, thanks for making it until the end, and please leave us a 5-star review or whatever kind of feedback you'd love on wherever you heard us, watched us, or streamed us. Now,
Ooh.
if you'd like to get a hold of us, here's how you can do that. You can get a hold of me at Mr. Commodore 5 on Twitter, all spelled out except for the 5. Big Tuck, you've been on a hiatus. You've been traveling the world. What's your gimmick for 2023?
I'm starting to tag people whose podcasts I listen to who are not in Magic. So
Mm.
I tagged someone after drinking that Heineken Zero, and she liked it. She was a comedian that was on Whose Line Is This Anyways, called Heather Ann Campbell, who's on
Okay.
Get Played, which is a good podcast. And I posted her about the Heineken Zero, and then she liked it. So I'm hot off my Xbox comments from December, so I'm trying to get more of that stuff going.
So wait, do you just like do a random post and then just tag a random person?
No, I like tag them. Like I'm tagging non Magic content creators about like I tagged her in a post about zero uh non-alcoholic
But like, what's her
Heineken.
correlation with it? What's her connection?
Nothing. She just I don't think I don't think I think she's non-alcoholic.
Oh, okay, okay.
So like that's the correlation. I was like I tagged her in it and she actually liked it, which I was shocked about.
I thought you were just tagging random people. Like, oh man,
No.
I had some great Burger King today at Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes.
Apartheid. Although I kind of like that. Also, I'm gonna. I don't. Can you send? I guess you can't send photos or any of this stuff. I'm gonna send you an image address for something that I think you'll like in Zencaster. But that's it.
Oh god,
I'm
that's
at
scary.
BigTuck tweeting. I'm at BigTuck tweeting. Much aligned on the Twitterverse.
All right. Well, you can get our main account at CMD Tower on Twitter as well. We will have the deck list, YouTube video, audio, and all that stuff posted at cmdtower.com/BNBE167 next week, or when you're hearing this on your audio, it should be there. And remember, guys, you can always support us via our Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tower, abyssproxyshop.com, code CMD Tower at checkout for 10% off your order, and Etsy.com, CMD Tower in that search bar to get a lot of our amazing merch. So, Big Tuck, Preston the Vanisher, what are your last thoughts on it? This this seems like one of our more interesting chaos drafts we've done because
Yes.
this commander I think is just very different from how you and I just play in general.
Correct. Yeah, I think this is going to be one that's going to be a lot more mid-rangey. I like the gimmicks that we have in here, right? I don't know. This was fun. Like there's a lot of cards in here that I like that I can't really find homes for in other decks or don't want to because it's not my play style.
Hmm.
If I'm looking to replace my mono black deck, but if I was looking to replace my mono white deck, I think this would be one that I'd maybe consider, but that's also because I have like 5 anointed processions lying around from all the decks I tore them out of. So it was really fun. It's not. It just maybe isn't. I don't know. I don't know if this is one I'd want to play in real life, but it was certainly fun
Yeah.
to build, and I think it actually would be pretty strong at the end of the day.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
about you?
I think it has legs.
Hmm.
Now I definitely think you'd have to probably tweak what we've done a little bit, but I think it has some major legs, and under the right mind, I think this could be a really filthy deck.
Yeah.
And it seems like it has combo potential very early in the game.
Hmm.
Um,
And ways to find it too, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
can see this. I can see this being like a disgusting, like you said, Sir Nathan or single Aaron, new boogeyman nightmare that they're looking to get out for
yeah,
sure.
hands down. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching us live, Lemony Lemmings. Spencer, anyone else that I might not have seen in the chat, but it's late and we're out of here. See ya.
See ya.